Hey guys, and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Nightreign. Today I want to talk to you about the dual state of status in this game. Proper status builds are either incredible or very underwhelming. It's a weird mix. If you're playing Executor, the best status scaler, you can do amazing and have really fun stuff happen with multiple statuses, even multiple status setups per run. If you lean into, say, the stealth benefits of the Caligo Relic, you can do some really fun stuff with Frost builds. But if you try to lean into things like sleep, it's quite strange. Or how madness isn't just something simple like, oh, it's bad. It's so hilariously rare that even if you clear multiple madness tag camps in a run, you might just not get a madness anything anyway. So, status is all over the place in Nightreign. Today I want to highlight the 4 best statuses, and then the rarer 3 that don't really work, and some fun and effective builds you can run for this concept. We'll begin with a slightly off-meta option that's actually really effective and fun. The Duchess isn't actually a bad one to lean into the concept of status with her preference for daggers and that unique moveset. Holding a dagger in one hand, you have an incredibly fast successive attack moveset. And if you have something like the Chilling Mist Ash of War, you're able to use that Ash of War to create a cloud of ice, which is going to build that status in general, but as you can see, it also buffs up the weapon. So with an incredibly quick moveset, you're able to apply Frost status from the beginning. One relic is going to be the best for this concept. Knight of the Miasma, this is the relic that comes with Caligo, the Ice Dragon Night Lord. It gives you that guaranteed Chilling Mist Ash of War on your starting weapon, but it also gives you this attack power up when dealing with a frostbitten afflicted enemy, which is really nice. Further, any nearby Frostbite procs will now conceal yourself. What does that mean? It's literally invisibility. This one just gives you yourself a stealth, and you don't even need to be the one that procced the Frostbite specifically. This means that you're going to have significantly less pressure on you with this build, allowing you to smoothly go for backstabs, back up and heal. It creates a lot of space for you because you're actually going to be quite often invis by running your own setup with this. What does the Frostbite status actually do in itself though? Well, by dealing enough frost damage, you cause the Frostbite proc. It deals a burst of damage, and then you'll see this icy effect on the target for about half a minute. This is actually a debuff and an important one. It essentially lowers the target's defenses, meaning they're taking more damage, not by just you, but everyone that's attacking them. So it's a damage increase to be attacking something that's affected by Frostbite in general, outside of the relic that we just talked about that's going to give you attack power when Frostbite actually procs on a target that you're fighting. So it's selfish synergy and it's team beneficial too. But if you lean more into the melee playstyle, you're going to get more value out of this more reliably every run, since you're going to start with a dagger that's got Chilling Mist on it in this case. With it in mind, I think you should use the Crown Medal, which is a remembrance relic from her storyline. It says that the dagger chain attack reprises event upon nearby enemies, and it improves your dagger attack power. So the idea here is to have your Frost starting dagger, and ideally find a second one, and you can power stance for incredibly effective successive movesets. That could be 2 Frost daggers, of course, or you could do something interesting, like find a fire weapon. What happens there with this status is you essentially cleanse it, meaning you can proc that Frostbite again sooner, which is quite interesting. Lastly, we have Golden Dew, which improves your character skill attack power, which is nice, but also boosts attack power of added affinity attacks. So this should work hand in hand with the whole Chilling Mist concept and enhance that. The big reason to change stuff around here, I would say, is because you got an RNG rolled relic that isn't one of these remembrance ones that has the key things we're looking for here, like the improved dagger attack power and that special Duchess effect here in both cases. As we get deeper into Nightreign, you might just have found some particularly good relics that could work better than these, but fulfill the same concept. To enhance this playstyle as much as you can with RNG you're going to find in the run then, you're looking to find successive attacks and negation benefits. So as you do successive attacks, maybe you get heals, maybe you build up damage negation, maybe you get increased damage from successive attacks. And if you're very lucky, you'll get the Shifting Earth event, the mountaintop one, which has the Frost mountaintop power at the top. If you get favor of the mountaintop, it halves Frostbite damage and Frost buildup against you, but nearby Frostbite will boost your attack. So you really couldn't ask for a better Shifting Earth event for that power for this build if you're lucky enough to find that. Further, you could also find some sort of spellcasting option. Maybe your main hand dagger is the one that you're generating Frostbite with. But of course, there are different spells and such that could be used to help with this concept. We're looking for functional synergy. Ultimately, you're going to be able to debuff enemies incredibly effectively, proc multiple of your weapon skill even without using it directly, generate invisibility for yourself to basically massively reduce the pressure on you and the team, all quite useful in solo for free DPS. You'll be debuffing the main targets, especially the bosses, to increase the damage they take for you and the team. And it's quite a fun playstyle to find different effects and weapons that work with this. So as an off-meta concept, I actually think it's really effective. But next up, if we're going to talk about status, and especially more meta, then of course we're going to come to the Executor. He has the best arcane scaling, and we'll start with weapons that are going to be great at applying status in the form of katanas, of course. But since he has dexterity at an S scaling, this means other weapons that are going to be great at causing status buildup, such as bleed and otherwise, like curved swords with their super fast moveset, especially in power stance, or something simple and effective like using twin blades in power stance as well, and just spam jumping attack for their many attacks and successive hits in short time. Basically, yes, katanas are amazing, but other dexterity options are going to work great too. And there are so many ways to run status really effective with this guy, but the awesome detail is your ability to kind of do it all at once. So I've got a couple relic setups that might be worth considering. Let's start with this first one, which is red and 2 yellows. The main concept here though is Knight of the Wise, so you're going to need at least the ability to put in this relic. While it does have a dead thing, which is increased maximum FP pretty much, it has the starting armament inflicts poison concept, so your starting katana has poison on it. And then poison and rot in the vicinity will increase attack power. This means whether you're doing poison, rot or both, you're going to get a big benefit for this run. Your goal then is actually to find both in the run if you can, but at very least this gives you a guaranteed thing you can start the run with. So with your poison katana at the start, you're just going to proc that poison and then you're going to swap to something else, something more effective. Ideally, something that has bleed on it and a different status you can build up. There's the Dragon Scale Blade, which gives you this Ash of War that causes it to generate lightning on itself, with ice being in the mix. You've got the Serpent Bone Blade as a great poison option. Katanas just come with bleed in general. There are other S-scaling dex weapons that are going to be perfect for this too, like your thrusting swords, like the Frozen Needle here, or of course the Antspur Rapier, which is going to be a prime source of rot. So your starting weapon, thanks to the Knight of the Wise relic, means you always have that poison proc for that damage increase and nice damage over time that it has. But you're ideally going to pop that, swap to a different weapon, and apply a different status. Ideally rot. And now it's poisoned and rotted, you go to the next thing, which is working on bleed or ice or both. Maintaining the damage over time ones that you found during this run, such as poison and rot, and then bouncing between the big burst ones. It's quite fun because you're doing a lot of weapon swapping in general, and it's even stronger if you happen to have a teammate that's using any poison or rot to make this even easier. With that in mind, it's a good idea to upgrade your starting weapon and just have that as your poison weapon. With an early smithing stone from the mine, get it purple, so it's always a reliable option for the entire run if you just have terrible RNG. But I would say that every run that I've done, I always end up with like 2, maybe 3 statuses that I'm swapping between, and it's very effective. For the other 2 relics then, it's obviously a lot more debatable. There is one that you get from the Executor Remembrance storyline, Golden Sprout, which means you can roar to get health back while you're in the wolf form, which is cool. You get HP recovery from successive guarding, so as you're using your black parrying, you actually get heals, it's nice. Slowly restore health when you go low, not amazing. It's an option. If you have a better red option that's going to be relevant to this, then obviously go for it. Something like this, attack power when facing Scarlet Rot afflicted enemies, could be amazing if you find it. There's also improved katana attack power, or even health restore upon katana attacks as things to look for. So in that same way, I just have a kind of awkward extra yellow slot here for the endurance and dexterity. The alternative setup for this would be something like the Chalice. So you got blue, yellow, and then anything. So there I've got Knight of the Wise. There I've of course got the Grand Tranquil Scene that you're able to buy after beating the final boss, giving us that Bloodborne heal, and Vigor and Poise is nice too. Then you're left with a bit of an awkward blue slot, which can be relevant if you're lucky. But yeah, that's the potential of bleed, frost, poison, and rot that you can synergize all in one build thanks to Executor and the amazing scaling he has. But what about those 3 other statuses that are so much worse? We begin with sleep, which is the most reliable of these bottom 3. That certainly doesn't mean it's good though. To test it, we ran Executor and Wylder so that we could have the best method of applying it in a reliable way. We ended up hitting targets with 2 sleep weapons at the same time. Shout out to my friend Dom for helping with this. You will find sleep fairly easy. It's certainly more common than the tag of madness, that's for sure. Usually you'll find it at ruins with some bears to defeat, that kind of thing. Now, slapping a target with enough sleep will cause the build up to trigger, and it triggers this small stun. This gives you a free window to maybe pop a flask, pop some items, prepare a charge attack or Ash of War, but it doesn't really mean much else. The moment you hit the target with any damage, it instantly wakes up. At best, this works as an RNG interruption if the timing's good, and that's it. But it gets worse. It's actually really hard to proc this most of the time. So many targets are just completely immune to it. It seems like only a specific selection of humanoid types and select targets like the bears themselves even react and work with it. A pile of enemies just won't go to sleep, and most of them that will, it's a tiny period anyway. We spent entire fights, many fights, applying sleep to a boss, and nothing happens. They just disregard the concept. And even if it did, we'd probably instantly interrupt it anyway, so I would say sleep is not a status to really worry about at this time. Madness is obviously specifically useful to counter the Librago. Otherwise, it's about as useless as Deathblight. At best, you're getting a small stun though, which is worthy if you happen to have a good source of it. But the problem is that source needs to be good DPS, right? Otherwise, it's a loss to even use it. That's why in many cases, I would run an offhand with the Night Lord's weakness to at least have a way to proc the debuff or stun whenever it's possible. And then run a weapon that's actually stronger around that. Madness is just so rare that you're not going to get an option to run it, let alone a good option, even in the cases where you're clearing multiple camps that had the tag. I don't know why it's so rare, and I hope they do something about it. But then lastly, we have Deathblight, which is as close to useless as you can get, even more so on the fringes of use than Madness. If it actually worked against targets, well then it would instantly kill them. That's the point of Deathblight. So it's a busted concept if you could do that against bosses. The only real way to make it work is to use it against humanoids and build that up and proc the insta-kill. That basically just means the invaders during those events, because they have the bigger health pool and are actually a target that it would work on. But even then, why would you even worry about doing that? A normal weapon can kill the invaders no problem in the same time or even faster. So another one that's just in a really weird state. So yeah, there you have it. That's my rundown of the statuses and how to best use them. At least we do have 4 good status options compared to the 3 very questionable ones. But I am hopeful for a rebalance or some kind of patch in the future to change things up. There's stuff in this game that's fun to use, and it's nice they made changes from Elden Ring. So hopefully they keep doing that. If you guys have any other good suggestions though for how to run status setups, let us know in the comments. I'd be interested. While we're waiting for updates, it's just fun to, mess around with less meta stuff. Until next time then, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.